Yesterday, dear viewers, a very dangerous document was officially revealed. A document that shocked all international intelligence agencies around the world. Yesterday, America announced the biggest strategic shift since the end of the Cold War. A shift that changed its priorities, its spheres of influence, and its perception of its enemies. And what's even more dangerous is that for the first time in almost 200 years, America is reviving a principle that has been the cause of a series of wars and serious conflicts throughout history. Some have described this document as a message of war, while others have called it a message to divide the world once again. What are we discussing today? What's the secret of this document and what's inside? About Africa, the Middle East, the Arab and Islamic countries, and so on. This is what we will reveal today. Stay with us. Dear viewers, peace be upon you and God's mercy and blessings, and welcome to our renewed meeting today, God willing. From the series of opinion episodes that we dedicate to analyzing exactly what is in the new United States National Security Strategy, which America announced yesterday. So today, just so everyone knows, it is well known in America that with every new administration, with every new president who takes over the leadership of America, a new United States National Security Strategy is announced. These strategies are considered the official document that explains how America views the world, how America sees each country individually, every region of the world. Which regions does it consider a threat to it? Which regions does it see as opportunities? Which does it consider priorities? And so on with such data. So this document or this tradition has been around since 1986. Since 1986. The National Security Law was issued. And this law obliges the new American administration to present and announce these major directions for the United States foreign and defense policy, the policy that concerns America's national security. So since 1986, the whole world, all countries have known these priorities, have known the priorities of the American administration through this document, have known how America thinks and how this future international policy will be exactly through this document. But despite that, this strategy did not undergo radical changes. Today, or yesterday, for the first time, this strategy is experiencing completely different and fundamental changes, with different priorities and new objectives for American policy. This strategy talks about major changes in America's policy with Russia, with Europe, with China, with Africa, with the Middle East, with Latin American countries, and so on. So, after the last document, which revealed the American National Security Strategy, the last document was in 2022, it talked about the American role in promoting democracy and maintaining peace within the framework of the existing world order. This time, this document came to emphasize the policy of non-intervention. It's strange, honestly, that America is stressing the policy of non-intervention. It also talks about the principle of America first. Let's watch what's next closely. The new American strategy says that meaning after the end of the Cold War, it was believed by decision makers in America that permanent American dominance over the world would serve America's interests. It says that the decision makers at that time were betting on this principle. They were betting on the world. They were betting on what is called today free trade. And the document says that this is exactly what destroyed the middle class in America and what destroyed the American industrial base that was the foundation of America's military and economic superiority. So the new thing this time is that America will abandon the principle of intervening in global affairs. A new strategy says that America's foreign policy should be evaluated according to the region and according to priority. Not all issues and files are the same. Not all regions are the same. Not all countries are the same. So not every country, region, or file, no matter how important, will be treated the same. Not all of them will be the focus of American strategy. Rather, the goal of American foreign policy should be, what is the protection of the main national interests? Just protecting interests? And these interests have been defined by this document in 4 areas. America has defined them in 4 areas. The first area is protection from illegal immigration. That's first. Second, nuclear deterrence. That's the second issue. The third issue is also creating a strong economy with industrial foundations. And not on the foundations brought by the global liberal system, but rather it talks about building a strong economy on industrial foundations, just like America was decades ago. And the fourth thing is protecting the American people from foreign intervention. Here they talk about whether this intervention is ideological or military, meaning protecting the American people from both ideological and military foreign intervention. So these are the main national interests for America now, which it will focus on as part of its national security strategy in the coming period. What's also new in this strategy is that America is reviving a principle called the Monroe Doctrine. It's a principle from a former American president named James Monroe. Yes, it was about 200 years ago from today. It was announced exactly in 1823. This principle states the necessity of ensuring the independence of Latin American countries from any European intervention. This principle was clearly stated. It stated that America would not interfere in European spheres of influence in the Middle East, Africa, and elsewhere in Asia, and it also said that Europeans should not interfere in America's spheres of influence, which was the Latin American region. So the new document today, which was officially revealed, yesterday, says that it is bringing back this principle again, bringing back the Monroe Doctrine again, meaning that it explicitly declares that the Latin American region, the Caribbean Sea region, are areas of special influence for America, and they must remain that way. America must prevent any attempt to extend foreign influence there. So the message here is different from before, different from the original Monroe Doctrine. Here, we're not talking about Europe. We're talking about Russian, Chinese, and Iranian influence. This influence that is strongly penetrating a number of countries there, especially Venezuela. And what's new this time is that, for the first time, America is specifying that this Latin American region is its main area of focus. All the priority now for America in the coming phase will be this region, the Latin American region. That's why we see this conflict intensifying today around Venezuela, and there's also a conflict over Colombia. America sees that there is a growing danger day by day because of these countries due to the significant influence of China, Russia, and Iran in these countries, which means they are close to American territory. Geographically speaking, they are considered close to American territory. America now knows that the major war is coming. So it has an obsession. An obsession with what? It has an obsession that when this war starts, these countries will be geographically close platforms to America, from which missiles, drones, conventional aircraft, and other things will be launched to attack American territory. What does it want just to keep this danger away? It wants to ensure that the major war won't go beyond Asian or European territories or elsewhere. It won't reach the American continents or America. So this new document says that America will not allow competitors to deploy forces, form forces, or pose any other threat in this region, which is of great strategic importance to America. So America's new strategic document defines the American region, meaning the main region, as the priority. This is something new, meaning that previously this was not at all the second most important region for America. The Asian continent, Asia, came next. The document states that Asia is the second most important region for America. And the stated goal here is what? It is to contain China. And for the first time, the document states that confronting China is not an ideological confrontation. This isn't democracy versus authoritarianism, as was said before, as was mentioned in the previous strategy, but rather it's a confrontation for the sake of the economy, for the sake of industry, for the sake of technology. So the new strategy today acknowledges that it talks about the necessity of launching a trade war against China, the necessity of rallying all allies, including America's allies, to confront China. This is also something new that came in this document. And it's something surprising, and not surprising at the same time. And honestly, it's not surprising considering all these recent events and changes, but no one expected it to appear so officially in America's national security strategy. What's new this time is that America didn't pay any attention to Europe. After this European region used to be a main area for America, this time Europe was completely neglected in the upcoming American policy. Europe, you are worth nothing. I mean, that's how it is. This new strategy describes Europe as suffering from demographic aging. Moreover, America described Europe as suffering from an identity crisis. Imagine America telling Europe it has no identity or is in an identity crisis. America specified in this document that it will not be a shelter, open and unconditional for Europe. It says that whoever pays more in Europe will get a stronger American commitment. That means each country, depending on who pays more, will get a stronger American commitment. Whoever pays less will get less of an American commitment. And those who don't pay, of course, won't get any commitment from America at all. And the reason America sees Europe this way, according to what is stated in this document, is that Europe destroys political freedom, destroys the sovereignty of countries, imposes censorship, undermines freedom of expression, and pursues an ineffective immigration policy. So the document says that if Europe continues on this path or with these policies, it will end up without any civilization at all, and this will happen within the next 20 years. Europe will end up without any civilization at all within the next 20 years. This was stated in the official document from America. And what's strange about this document is that it admits that the European sanctions against Russia, the sanctions that Europe imposed on Russia, caused more harm to Europe than to Russia. It officially acknowledges this. Also, this document touched on the issue of Russia and NATO. Of course, how does America now view the issue of Russia and NATO? The document says that America no longer sees NATO expansion as something natural. This matter has become unnatural, meaning there is no longer any need for further NATO expansion into other regions in Europe or the world. NATO has now reached its final stage. It will either continue like this or it will also collapse. The document touched on the Middle East and the African region. If we talk about the Middle East, the document says that the Middle East is no longer of great strategic importance to America. Pay close attention, the Middle East is no longer of great strategic importance to America. And this is because America no longer needs oil, the region no longer needs oil. I mean, after America became an oil and gas producer, it no longer needs the Middle East region. From this aspect, from the energy side, that's why the American strategy defined the Middle East region in 3 matters. And these matters are considered just interests, vital interests for America, but they're not a priority like they used to be. The first thing is global energy security, meaning ensuring energy for the world, not just for America. The second thing is Israel's security, which was important before and still is now. The third thing is freedom of navigation, meaning matters of interest for America, like ensuring freedom of navigation in the Strait of Hormuz and Bab al-Mandab. These are not priorities for America, but they do represent important interests for America, which requires political presence and American military presence in the region, according to this document. However, this is not considered a priority for America. There was also talk about Iran, and the most important thing mentioned about Iran in this document is America's acknowledgement that this country poses a threat to it. But pay close attention, it poses a threat to it. But this Iranian regime should only be contained, not eradicated, just contained. Why? Because of course it serves some interests, it achieves some American goals. So this regime cannot be neutralized, but its expansion must simply be prevented. Its influence in the region weakened within certain limits so that it does not threaten Israel. It has certain capabilities that should remain as they are. They should not increase any further. This means that Iran should not become a giant in the region. This is the most important point regarding the Middle East. What about Africa? What about the African region? The document talked about Africa, but with less importance than all the other regions in the world, even less than Europe. The most important thing in this document is that America will now follow a completely different policy from previous decades. Even regarding Africa, there will also be a difference. So instead of focusing on traditional aid like food aid and other things that were done in the past, or focusing on political intervention that used to be done by force, now America will rely on the language of alliances, economic, technological, and military alliances, and so on. Now, America will shift its relationship with Africa towards ensuring access to rare natural resources. But this will not be in exchange for food aid as it was before. It won't be in exchange for that. Instead of exerting power through political intervention, form economic alliances with these African countries. Maybe integrating this into supply chains, meaning giving these countries opportunities for production or manufacturing, something that industrial America needs. When we talk about supply chains, that's what it means. And this means that America will not make great efforts to achieve its interests in Africa at all. Africa is the last area of interest for America. It will only focus on certain countries in Africa, countries that have something to offer America. Maybe they have rare natural resources. Maybe they have great potential in the technology sector, the sector that matters to America today. Or maybe they have strategic or energy projects that align with American interests. So there will be agreements within this framework. When agreements win-win. This is exactly the most important point in the United States national security strategy. This precisely defines United States foreign policy in the coming phase. And the most important change is that it puts Latin America first. This gives the impression that the region, Latin America, is experiencing significant tension, especially when we talk about Venezuela. After that, this conflict will move to Colombia, and there might actually be a military operation soon. Ultimately, it's your choice. Dear viewers, write to us in the comments how you see this new American strategy and how it could be used by Arab and Islamic countries. You mean Morocco, Saudi Arabia, and other countries? So don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button. Peace be upon you and God's mercy and blessings. See you next time.